I call Scott Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As Chairman of the Local Government Environment Select Committee, it's a pleasure to rise in support of this exclusive economic zone and continental shelf environmental effects transitional provisions amendment bill in its second reading. In the name of my colleague, the very good and capable Minister for the Environment, Dr. Nick Smith. Now, Sir, notwithstanding the very energetic speech of the previous speaker, I'm delighted to hear that Labor are going to support this bill and this reading as we discuss it and move it through the House this afternoon, sir. The simple fact is that energy is important to us all, sir. It's essential to every aspect of our daily lives in this modern world we live in. It's used in factories and hospitals and for the production of fertilisers and chemicals and for manufacturing and construction and every kind of enterprise known to a civilised society. We use it for heating, we use it for cooking, and we use it pretty much in every aspect of our day-to-day lives. And, Sir, New Zealand's been fortunate to always have a secure source of energy, mostly provided by our hydroelectricity network. But in times of low rainfall, we have been able to rely on the gas-fired turbines that are powered by gas that comes from the Maui field off the Taranaki coast. And so, Sir, this field that has been now in operation for nearly 50 years, I think, is a significant part of the energy network that supplies New Zealand's energy needs. And it's important that as we discuss this bill, sir, that we note that it's a technical tweaking of the Principal Act that came into effect in 2012. So the purpose of this bill will be to amend the Principal Act so as to allow existing operators who have applied for marine consent to continue their operations until that application is decided and any subsequent objections or appeals have been determined. And, sir, as the Minister said in his speech a few minutes ago, this is a process that literally did not exist prior to the Principal Act being passed, and there are 4 other operators who have, in due course, as their consents come to an end, as their current licences come to an end, will require new marine consents and need to go through the process. And as part of the requirements of the Principal Exclusive Economic Zone Continental Shelf Act, Shell Todd Oil Services will be required to have their marine consent to continue operations approved by the EPA by the 27th of this month. And, sir, that's why we are moving this technical amendment through the House this afternoon in its second reading. Marine consent, sir, is an approval granted by the Environmental Protection Authority to undertake managed activity under the Principal Act. And so what might some of those activities be that a consent of this sort that is being discussed this afternoon include? Well, sir, it includes all the marine operations related to the existing Maui project. For instance, the upgrading and maintaining of facilities, both existing and those that are planned for the future. The consent would also include the actual requirement for drilling itself and, of course, for the actual extraction of the gas. The consent would include matters relating to environmental monitoring. It would also extend to covering logistics, such as the use of helicopters and support vessels that service the actual Maui platform off the coast of Taranaki. And it covers, of course, as I said, the extraction of the gas itself and the condensate. Shell Todd Oil Service Services is a long-standing corporate citizen of the Taranaki area. They've been active and operating in New Zealand, sir, for more than 50 years, and they're a company that is owned by the Shell Petroleum Mining and Todd Petroleum Mining, who each hold a 50% stake in that entity. And during that more than 50 years of operation, Shell Todd Oil Services has set its operational mandate and provisioning at extremely high levels. They pay enormous attention to environmental control and to safety benchmarking, and they're considered to be a very prudent, careful and successful operator in the gas and condensate field. As an oil and gas operator for more than 55 years, they've got an active and ongoing relationship with the wider Taranaki community. The company currently employs, I'm told, more than 300 direct employees, and then of course there are a wide range of other people who provide services and support to the enterprise. Sir, at Select Committee, this bill was considered in the collegial manner in which most things are considered in the Local Government Environment Committee, and I want to take this opportunity to thank members from across the House for their careful and considered contributions to the debate at Select Committee. We received 5 submissions on this bill, and I think that it's fair to say that they all made good points. We, as a committee, did make a couple of suggested amendments, and they are to be incorporated as we work this bill through the House. Megan Woods, in her contribution prior to mine, sir, made comment about the requirement that the Select Committee has introduced for those existing 4 other licence holders to have their applications completed in a full and acceptable state before their current licences expire, which in some cases is up to 20 or 30 years hence. But their application for renewal to the EPA should be in full and proper manner 9 months before the expiry of the existing licences. And so we considered options for not allowing or placing any time frame on that application process. But we settled on a period of 9 months based on advice from the Ministry and also from submitters who were keen to raise this matter with us. And I think that when we looked at the dates, we considered 3 months, we also considered 12 months and 6 months. 9 months seems to be about right. It's largely academic, sir, because I think that any sensible professional corporate in their right mind would probably ensure that their application was in place well in due course. I can't imagine that any senior executive of any of the companies involved would allow a situation to occur where they did not have their application in on time. But there was a question relating to the completeness of that application prior to the end of the existing licence, and it was that issue of completeness that I think really swayed the committee's thinking on this matter. It was a matter that was compelling and logical, and I was pleased that the collegial nature of the committee endured on the day, and we got to a place where we could all agree. Sir, this is a piece of legislation that, as the Minister said, is a largely technical adjustment to the Principal Act. Shell Todd Oil Services, if they don't have this piece of legislation passed before the 27th of June this month, in fact enacted before the 27th of June this month, will be required to cease their operations. And the potential impacts of that occurring are not ones that I think this House would want to consider for any moment at all. And so I'm hopeful that as we go through this debate, we will find that there is support across the House for this technical adjustment, technical amendment to the principal bill. It's a good, logical thing to do, and I commend it to the House.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, Rice